This is our mobile data collection interviewer training that you're watching. The first thing you're going to do when you're ready to begin your sample day is you're going to go to your tablet and you're going to open the Survey123 app. Sometimes when you go to open that app, it's going to ask you for your password. And you're going to enter your username here and your password there, and that information will be provided to you by MMI2. It will be on your schedule as well as sent to you separately. One thing you never want to do is change the username or password. You will lock everybody in the entire region out. Once you're logged in and you go to the page with your surveys on it, you're going to notice that there's an individual interview, there's a view corridor interview, and then there's training modules for each of those type of interviews. So you want to, when you're doing a real survey day, you want to make sure that you're not logged into a training day. If you're practicing, go ahead and you can practice as much as you want using those training modules because that's what they're there for. But just remember, when you're doing a real survey day, you want to make sure you're not in that training mode. If your sample day is at a view corridor, you'll select the view corridor in the title, but we will talk about that on a different video. So today we're talking about the individual interview, and you're going to want to select the one that's titled Individual Interview. And again, make sure it's not the training module one. As you'll see here, ensure that you have the correct survey open, and if not, you just push the back symbol here, and then you just open the correct one. Once you have the proper survey open and you're ready to start collecting data, you're going to push the Collect Data blue button right down here in the left corner. And once you push that collect, it is going to remember the time that you and your GPS coordinates. It's going to remember those at that time. So don't push the collect button until you're actually ready to start your interviewing for the day. Also, you do not need to be on Wi-Fi or have a cell signal to push collect. And you should only push collect once per survey day. Once you've pushed collect, it's going to open up to your individual interview page. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to put in your full name right there. And the next thing is the QR code. We ask that you key in the QR codes, and those will be found on your calendar that you receive from MMI2. And once you enter that code, you'll key it in, and then you'll just click on right here where it says region. And once you click there, it's going to autofill the next several fields. The format for keying in is an underscore, the region code, and then the forest code, and a dash, and the site number. But as I said before, all that information will be on your calendar. So once you key in that QR code and you click into regions the region field, it will auto-populate up to your use level. And your use level is going to be found on your calendar that you receive from MMI2. So you would go ahead and click whichever radio button is appropriate from your calendar. This sample of a calendar looks a little bit different than the one that you will receive from us, but it does have all of the same information on it. The next question it's going to ask is this a substitute day? You are always going to put no for that question unless we have let you know that it is a substitute day. And if that is the case, we will have given you some extra information that you should be entering. Once you have clicked the radio button that no, it's not a substitute day, the next thing that you're going to enter is you're going to make sure that the date is correct, and you're going to make sure that the time is correct. And you just use the arrow downs to change those. And then you're going to enter what if you're counting people or vehicles, and that information is also going to be on the calendar you receive from MMI2. And then the next thing, you are going to enter your beginning hand tally count, and this should always be 0. And once you enter that 0, you never want to go back and change that. You just, once you've entered 0, you leave that for the rest of the day. And this slide just tells you what you would do if it were a substitute day. It comes up with some other, if you say yes to that, then it comes up and asks for your original sample date and your original QR code. And again, if you are working on a substitute day, we will have given you that information in advance. And then once again, they want to make sure that you enter whether you're counting people or vehicles, and that you've entered that 0 in the beginning tally count, and that you don't change that. So once you've done all that, you're ready to do interviews. So you're going to click on the interview form types, and there are 3 different types. There's basic, economic, and satisfaction. And as you're doing your interviews for the day, you're going to rotate through these 3. You're going to start with the basic, and then the next one you'll do economics, and the next one satisfaction, and then back to basic. When you're ready to contact a potential interviewee, you'll click the Start button right here. And this opens a survey and puts a timestamp on it. If you have a blank interview that you haven't used, you can go ahead and click this trash can here on the left-hand side. You usually only want to do that at the end of your interview day if you have one that's set up to go, but nobody came and you didn't interview it, then you would go ahead and use that trash can to delete it. And once you do hit this button, it's going to come up with this message, and you'll just say yes. Now you're ready to actually do the visitor survey. So when you're ready to start the interview, you're going to click this radio button right here that says Start New Interview. And the first question it's going to ask is for their zip code. And then you're just going to follow the prompts from there. And the survey, it asks, the questions sometimes will depend what it goes to next on what the answer was to the question that you just had them answer. And so you're just going to follow the survey prompts and you're going to complete the survey. And then when you're completely done, you're going to press the radio button that says, yes, this interview has been completed. It's unlikely you would want to push delete at this point because you'll delete the survey you just completed. So at this point, you probably don't want to hit that trash can. When you, once you say, yes, the survey is complete, then if you hit this plus mark here on the right-hand side, it will get it ready for a new survey for your next person that comes along to interview. And you'll see that this counts, it keeps count of how many surveys you're on. So the survey that is in there waiting, that one's 2 of 2. And so you're just going to leave it there until you're ready to do another survey. So the next survey you're going to do is going to be the economics. So you're going to go ahead and click that button. And then when you have somebody to interview, you're going to go ahead and click the plus sign again. You're going to click Start New Interview and the plus sign. And it's just going to take you back through an interview form, and at the end it'll have some other questions. I think the economics interview asks a lot of questions about how much you spent while you were in the forest and those kind of things. And so then when you're done with that interview, you're going to click the radio button for economics, then you're going to click Start New Interview. And then you're going to just go ahead and give the person the interview. And if for some reason nobody comes along to interview, you're going to use the red trash can again to get rid of that interview. So the next part we're going to demonstrate is to be able to close out a sample day and upload the data. So it's the end of your sample day, and you'll see here you did 3 interviews. And so what you're going to want to make sure is that you still have the correct date, and then you're going to want to make that sure it's the correct time, and you use this arrow if you need to adjust the time. How many minutes did you spend on break? We're always going to put 0 there. So even though you take your 30-minute break, just put 0 on how many minutes did you spend on break. And then your total survey time in hours should be 6. And then in this field right here, you're going to look at your hand tally counter and you're going to enter whatever number is on that in that field. And where it asks recreation use at this site for the day is, you're just going to put normal, because unless you know for some other reason that it's above normal or below normal, you just want to go ahead and put normal as it says on the calendar. And again, it auto-populates this field on how many interviews were conducted during the interview period. And then the last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use this text box, and you're going to want to put any comments about the day, like it was a nice day, there was lots of people with dogs, or anything unusual that happened during the day. So you could put some of the comments that visitors made while they were talking to you. And just anything, the more you put there, the better. This field just is giving a exception to the normal, like maybe there was a large group here today and so then it would be above normal, but we will usually let you know if there's something like that going on. So just for most purposes, you're just going to put normal there. And once you have all your comments filled in this box and everything's ready to go, you're going to click this green check mark down in the right-hand corner. And maybe it'll come up with a message that says the interview record you are currently on hasn't been completed. Delete it or complete it. So if you get that message, you're going to want to go back up here and hit the red trash can on the left. And then once you do that, you're going to hit the green check mark again, and then you should get this message, survey completed, and most likely your device is going to be offline. And you're just going to say OK. And that will take you to this screen. And if your device does happen to be online, you can send it at that point, but most likely you're not going to be online, and then you're going to get this message and the survey is going to go to your outbox. Once you've sent it to the outbox and you go back to your screen with your different surveys on it, it's going to show a little number there, and that means that you've got one survey in your outbox. And if you click on that individual survey type again, it's going to open up and it's going to show you that you have a survey in your outbox. And if you click on the outbox, once you're where you have Wi-Fi, it's going to show your survey for the day up here, and then it's going to have a send down in the right-hand corner. You want to make sure that you never click this trash can, because that will delete your entire survey for the day. When you're ready to send it, you're going to want to hit this send down in the right-hand corner. And that's pretty much it. You have completed your first survey day.